Hey everybody, welcome to another SciCraft episode. As you saw the time-lapse, the Dragon Egg duping project is now finally finished. We also have a lot of Dragon Eggs stored already in the Nether with about, is it 10 or 11 million Dragon Eggs by now, which should be enough for the first big project. Still we're working on project Skyblock, which now can continue since we have enough Dragon Eggs. And then we might also need more Dragon Eggs if you ever want to make a quarry in the Nether again. Alright, yeah, so this whole Dragon Egg project took longer than expected. It's actually been months since I started it, but I always got sidetracked with other projects, and then we worked on the tunnel bore, which took forever. But yeah, anyway, it's now finished, except we still ran into one issue. You saw in the time-lapse, I turned on Dragon Egg duper number 4 manually, and there's a reason for it. And we're having again issues with the frosted eyes. Not really bad. The problem is easy to solve, but it's quite annoying and will take a few hours of effort to solve the issues. So you might remember we cut in slices at the chunk borders into the frosted ice highway in order to prevent chunk loading issues, but we still have some chunk loading issues, but let me explain. So the reason why we did it the first time was preventing that the frosted ice creates a permaloader itself. So before, if you had a line of a few thousand frosted ice blocks like this, you could stand here at the start of the frosted ice line, and then it's just a matter of minutes until the whole frosted ice line has loaded itself and would load each other again and is permanently loaded. Basically also creates a permaloader. Now we fixed those issues just by slicing it up, so one frosted ice segment can't load the next one. So those issues are solved, but unfortunately there's something I overlooked. We built the instant line in the same chunk as the frosted ice. So why is this an issue? Usually, if there's no permaloader running, if you load all of those chunks by activating the instant line, after a while the frosted ice chunks would unload. But that's not the case, and that's my oversight. I didn't know that. If you have a permaloader running, which is required for the Dragon Egg duper, otherwise it would break, then the frosted ice basically keeps itself loaded, or just the chunk the frosted ice is in. So we do have the complete frosted ice line loaded when we turn on the instant repeater line in order to turn on the Dragon Egg duper on the other side. And as long as the permaloader is running, none of those frosted ice chunks would ever unload. And this is causing quite some lag again. They basically have the same issues, but different. A way to solve all of this is moving instant repeater line into the next chunk. So luckily, we built the tunnel in a way that we have a second chunk on the side here. And if you would move over the instant repeater line to the wall, then we wouldn't load all the frosted ice. So maybe we have to cross the frosted ice on one chunk, then we load one chunk with frosted ice, which is not a big deal. But loading hundreds of frosted ice chunks is a problem. Okay, so what we need to do is we can keep the old line, just keep it powered or whatever, and build a new instant repeater line. I've been shying away from this effort because it's quite tedious and boring task. Building the line from here to the next Dragon Egg duper took, I think, over 3 hours. I did this on stream once, and now we basically have to do it again. And nobody's really motivated to do it again, just in order to turn on the 4th Dragon Egg duper. So saw in a time lapse, we turned it on manually, which is quite inconvenient, to be honest, because I still need to take a boat trip to the furthest away Dragon Egg duper. And then also get back. It's always like 5-10 minutes I need to spend in order to turn a Dragon Egg duper on. So eventually probably build this again, might make another instant repeater line stream and get it done, so we can say it's now completely working. Alright, the next time we ever do something like this, then we definitely know that we don't run into these issues again. As I said, the frosted ice line is fine, so you can definitely travel the whole distance and also go back, and the frosted ice doesn't make a permaloader anymore, but we need to just move this. So here's also a bit of a progress I want to show you. It's also a long time project we're working on here. Recently there have been some questions again what I need so many dragon eggs for, and Project Skyblock will require several million dragon eggs. So we plan to remove a 1k by 1k area completely in the overworld. That means there's nothing left in the end. Also no bedrock blocks, nothing. Complete void, so we could place skyblock in there. That's where the name came from. Yeah, this is also a long time project. I think we actually made the perimeter over a year ago. I think it was last summer or even spring where we started. And yeah, just sometimes things go really slow on a SciCraft server because we're just always busy with different projects as well. Okay, so the project or the progress I want to show you is XCOM removed a, I think it's about 2 byte strip of the Y5 to Y1 bedrock in order to build his fully automatic dragon egg remover. So the way he did it was, he had a flying machine where he placed dragon eggs on, went to the lazy chunks, activated the machine in order to drop down the dragon eggs, removed the bedrocks this way, came back, moved the machine, I think, was it 5 blocks or 1 block forward, and repeat 1,000 times in order to get this, 2 chunk wide strip. So the next machine he wants to build will be his dragon egg remover version 3 that he and Pingo designed and created together. This will be more automatic because instead of going back and forth manually and placing the eggs, you do this while AFKing. The machine will supply the player with dragon eggs, and also everything else is automated. So going to the lazy chunks or moving away from the dragon eggs, so they're lazy loaded in order to drop them. It's all fully automated, and in the end we probably need to AFK about 6 to 7 days, and then the whole perimeter looks like this. Then it's just the Y0 bedrock left, which we need the piston technique in order to remove it. So we can't use dragon eggs for the Y0 bedrock, just the way it works. The dragon egg drops 1 lower than usual. That's the whole bug, but you can't drop lower than Y0. There's no Y minus 1 it could be placed on. Alright, we already have also designed a machine for that. I think it was also over a year ago that we uploaded that on YouTube. The machine had a little flaw. So the machine removes 5 bedrock at once in a line. So we remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bedrock, then move 1 forward and do this again. The little flaw of the machine was that it only works if it's surrounded on both sides by bedrock. Otherwise the TNT explosion, which is required to make the headless piston, could damage other parts of the machine. So one way to fix this is you can also place water here once the bedrock is removed in order to temporarily guard the other blocks from the explosion, and this way we can also fix it. Or Ita is actually working on a machine that doesn't require placing water, which will also be a help if he gets that to work. Oh yeah, we also got more questions because recently Myron Irio showed a machine that would be superior to the 5 wide bedrock remover, or potentially, because it doesn't use up pistons. So currently for the 5 wide bedrock remover, you always need to use 5 pistons that kind of get used up in the progress, and you would need to place down 1 million pistons as well in crafters in order to remove all the bedrock. But Myron Erie recently showed a machine that doesn't require using extra pistons, but it has the downside it would only remove a bedrock block every 4th block, and also only a single one at a time. So that's why I'm a bit hesitant to use that machine instead, because making 1 million pistons is okay, it's quite a lot of effort, but it's definitely doable. The downside of having or using Myron's machine would be that we have to build the machine, which is not really tiny. It's definitely quite, I guess maybe 30 to 40 minute effort to build it with Schematica, and we would need to do this 4,000 times. While if you build the 5 bedrock remover machine that uses up pistons, we only need to do this 200 times. And this is definitely more doable. So the 5 wide bedrock remover is definitely comparable in size. So we're still debating which machine we should use, but I'm definitely leaning towards the older machine we have. That said, there's probably ways to improve Mario's machine and make it at least remove a bedrock every block, but I'm not sure if somebody's currently working on it. I'm not actively working on it right now because the field or that area of redstone is quite complex, and you would need to spend a lot of hours to get somewhere. So I currently don't have the time to work on it, but it would be interesting if somebody can improve those concepts in the future. Alright, so enough about Project Skyblock for now. I want to start a new project. And currently I'm bringing over armor pieces and tools from the old armory at the Guardian Farm to the Nether Hub. And I noticed we're running low for our standards on supplies. So I remember, I think it was 2, or was it even 3 years ago? Probably closer to 2 when we upped it to 1.10. We crafted 3 double chests of each armor piece and also each tool type. And yeah, over the years we just lose some stuff. Main reason is we fall either in the void, or we die in lava and everything burns. Or yeah, we also get new members that need new armor pieces. So yeah, we're running low kinda. We could just use the existing farms we have in order to make new stuff. But yeah, I'm in a constant state of not being satisfied with what we have. So we could just go to the old portal pigmen farm in overworld and enchant everything there. The system is quite convenient, but the problem is it runs at about 80,000 XP per hour, which is only half as fast as you can make a pigmen farm. So that's why I'm thinking about building a pigmen farm in the Nether. I already recently, a year ago, released videos about farms that are widely used. So there's the simple pigment farm for the Nether and a more advanced version. But as I said, constantly living in a state of not being 100% satisfied, I want to work on a new design which is more efficient. The reason why I was working with zombie pigments again was that I recently had to spend a lot of time fixing some issues we had with an older farm. So this is the portal pigment farm that I showed also a while ago. It was around the time I was also working on the Nether farms. Here's a complete version, and we recently built half of the farm on the survival server because it was used for an ice farm. By the way, the ice farm video and server tour will be released around Christmas. It always takes a lot of people that can participate in it, and not everybody has time at the moment, so we release a video about the ice farm around Christmas. Okay, what I can already spoil is that we use a pigment farm in order to repair tool with mending for the ice farm. So we were building this portal pigment farm, and we ran into some issues which were really frustrating and definitely cost me a lot of time trying to fix them. So the issue we had is that the pigmen aggro ran out. So let me just quickly demonstrate it, how this farm works. So you would go into survival mode, go to 112, you can type game mode 0, that comes back at some point, and then throw a snowball at those alarm pigmen here in the back. And that would anger the other pigmen if they are allowed to spawn. Wait, I probably set the game rule random tick speed, which is important. No, it's 3. Then game rule do mob spawning. It's false. Okay, let's do true. Now we got pigmen spawning. Okay, let's try that again. Throw a snowball. Oh, it works. Okay, now it was spawning with the pigmen in the back. Apparently still mad, and now yeah, all the pigmen that spawn would now try to pathfind towards the player, killed by entity cramming. And you can, for example, yeah, just stand here and mine ice, for example. Okay. So the problem we had with this farm is that the aggro, which also now just broke, we quickly do it again, was also breaking after a few hours. Okay. So now they're angry again. Okay, now there are a lot of pigmen incoming. Alright, so this aggro chain broke, and after a few hours, it was a bit random, the pigmen stopped being mad at the player. Alright, so we did some investigating. First, we tried a lot of things just by trying it out in creative mode. We had some suspicions, but none of those confirmed it. Then we asked XCOM and Mossa to look into the code and help us a bit. So what they found out is that the alarm pigmen here in the back can't just be any random pigmen. They need to have a follow range lower than 35. So yeah, when pigmen spawn, they all have a random follow range. I think it's 35 plus minus a Gaussian value. So it could be pretty much any value. I've seen pigmen with a follow range of 28, but I've also seen some pigmen with a follow range of 85. So follow range means if there's a pigman standing 85 blocks away and has that follow range, he would also be mad at the player. So that also means you could make this farm a lot larger if you also want to work with those pigmen that have an exceptionally high follow range and can make this farm faster. But that also has the problem that only a small percentage of the pigmen really far away would pathfind towards the player, so it's probably not really worth it to expand the size of this farm in order to work with those pigmen. Alright, anyway, so those alarm pigmen, they need to have a follow range lower than 35 in order for the farm to work. And yeah, that's the problem we had, because I checked again with carpet mod, and the pigmen we had at the Portal Pigment farm at the ice farm had a follow range higher than 35, and that meant the farm randomly stopped working. The reason why it worked for a few hours was that we had some pigmen that were spawning here on the outside of the farm, which is also about 35 blocks away from the player, and if they had a low following range, they actually functioned or took over the function of those alarm pigmen. So that's why the farm was working for a few hours and then just randomly stopped. Alright, so we had to replace the zombie pigmen in our ice farm, but there's one problem: how do we know the follow range of a certain pigman? You could either use something like MBT Explorer or use carpet mod instead. Or you could actually also use in-game mechanics to find out. So we use carpet mod now. I just want to show you. So there's this entity info command you can use. Then you have to do add e type equals zombie pigman, and in order to only select single pigman, just do a radius here. Alright, so here you can see this pigman has a follow range of 34.2. Let's see this one here. And this one has a follow range of 35.9. Alright, so we would need to replace this one here with one with a follow range lower than 35. I can also show you the in-game mechanic, which we used in survival to find it out. So you can give them away where they want to pathfind. So I have a bot here that I just can program. You can do the player 100 use once in order to anger the pigman, which didn't work. Because he's not in survival. Okay, let's try again. Game mode 0, that guy. And now they're angry. And here you can see the difference, because the pigman on the left thinks he can walk over the trapdoor here. He's constantly jumping. And that's an easy way to find out if your guy has a higher follow range. That one over there is just randomly pathfinding here and there. Alright, so currently it's still working, so those pigmen would still alert other pigmen that would spawn. But at some point this chain would break. So yeah, we're still in that 100 tick cycle where the pigmen run towards the player, but at some point it will break unless we have a pigman with a lower following range. Alright, so far so good. This was the story how we fixed our ice farm after a lot of hours of desperation. Thanks again, XCOM and Mossa, for looking into the code and figuring that stuff out. And here comes the interesting part. I observed something. So remember how I showed you how the pigman would start running after 100 ticks? There's actually also a second version where pigmen would start running immediately. Let's maybe do a little bit of pigment noise. So you can see they're immediately angry as soon as they spawn. And obviously this would be really interesting if we could that behavior to work all the time. Especially for the pigment farm in the nether. Not so much with the portal pigment farm, since the killing speed is not really that important there, but the nether pigment farm would benefit from that behavior a lot, because usually limited by the mob cap, and the faster you kill mobs, the faster new mobs can spawn. So you get a higher output if you kill the mobs quicker. And it would be definitely beneficial if they don't need to wait up to 100 ticks. So yeah, on average it's 50 ticks before you kill them or before they start running. And yeah, again, XCOM helped us a lot by figuring this out, how to get this behavior. It has to do with the pigmen AI. And you get this behavior where they would basically alert the pigmen every tick by desyncing their AI. So they run basically on a different schedule and alert each other. And if you get that behavior to go, then pigmen are angered all the time. What happens usually is you load a chunk, and both the pigmen are loaded at the same time. And then their schedules are synced, and then they would only send out the alarm every 100 ticks. Okay, and the trick in order to desync the pigmen AI is actually quite simple. You just need to have those alarm pigmen in different chunks. So here this blue line indicates chunk boundary, or this yellow line in this case now. So what you need to do in order to desync the alarm pigmen is to fly away in that direction, obviously, not loading them from there, so in that direction. And then just come back, so just fly away a little bit, come back, and reload them again. And then the AI is desynced, and if you now anger them, they would send out the alarm every tick. Alright, and now the plan is to use this behavior we found in order to make a more efficient pigment farm in the nether. But unfortunately running out of time in this episode, so we will design the new pigment farm in the next 2 episodes. There's one last thing I want to show, so let's go back to survival real quick. Now we are almost at the end of the world. Well, not really, but we are at 5000 x 2000 on a Z axis in the nether. So this is almost 50,000 blocks away from spawn. This will be the site for our next double witcher perimeter. So this Saturday at 12 PM Central European time, there will be another 24-hour live stream attempt. Again, we want to make another perimeter, and this time also again try to completely build the witch farms and do all the lag optimizations. So stone generator and the full program within 24 hours. We already attempted this last time, I think it was 4 weeks ago. That attempt failed unfortunately after 20 hours. But this time I'm really hopeful we can do it. The 2 main reasons why I'm so optimistic we can do it this time is that we have more manpower. So I invited the people that support me via Patreon to help out this time. And the second reason is we have new and improved machines. So what you can see here is the new World Eater. It's quite similar to the old one, but what it can do faster now is remove some of the top layers. So what the World Eater did before was duping TNT, and sweepers at the bottom, removing the remaining liquids. Then it gets pushed down on one end, does the same, then it gets pushed down at this end again, and it's bouncing back and forth. But the water removal is mostly important for the layers from Y62 to, depending if you have a lot of ocean biome or river biome, to up to Y30 if you have an ocean biome. Above there's usually not a lot of water, and from Y30 to Y10 there's also not a lot of liquids until we hit the magma levels again. So what the new machine does, instead of moving only down once, it moves down 6 times on this side. But it doesn't do that all the way, so we basically have a logic that would be unhooked afterwards. So this logic part here is responsible for pushing down 6 times, but at some point it would hit this obsidian block, and then the other logic, which is built up there, would take over, which only pushes down once. So so we can now cover the layers above Y62 quicker. So all of those little hills and a few mountains here will be removed a lot quicker at the cost of having to remove the liquids manually. So there's usually some, for example, here's a lava lake or little underground water lakes that need to be removed by hand. But it's not a lot of effort. You can easily do it. So yeah, we can cover the top layers a lot quicker this time. Obviously, once we hit the river biomes, this is just way too much effort. A little downside of this perimeter side, so this is a creative copy of the survival seed, is that we have actually an ocean biome on one side, which requires a lot of effort to remove. But I think with the help of the Patreons, this should be doable within maybe the same time frame. Another little improvement I was working on is the trencher system. We have to make space for the World Eater on all 4 sides. And the new trencher is faster. So previously we used a 10 game tick engine, and now we have a 9 game tick engine that works both ways. It's also a self-returning one. So it's should be 11% faster now. It's another little improvement. Then we also have another half an hour time save by redoing the strategy for the lowest layer. So the World Eater would leave over some stones, actually a lot of stones, on this layer here, which we previously just mined away with pickaxes, which took about 45 minutes. But instead of doing this, we actually implemented a strategy that was suggested by Rechenmaschine in a Twitch stream. Now, instead of mining those away, we can just pull those blocks up to this layer and then run the TNT duper again, which reliably takes out every single of those remaining stone blocks. So that's why we have this block pulling machine that goes over the full length of the perimeter and pulls the stone up. Then another little detail is that we have to keep the TNT duper at the same level. Usually the TNT dupers are launched by being pushed down, and we can't launch them again at the same time. So that's why we have a little extra flying machine that activates the TNT dupers again to change direction, and that's how we can basically run over the same layer twice. In order to make space actually for the block puller, this would be outside of the trench. We also added a TNT tunnel bore, so hopefully we can also make the space a bit quicker by the help of another machine. Another machine we will use is the improved double layer stone generator, which was already shown in the last SciCraft episode. Like the trenchers, it uses a 2-way 9 game tick engine. And since this goes back and forth about 120 times, we will save about half an hour by using just this slightly faster engine. Previously we also used a 10 game tick engine. Alright, then we also have another improved strategy. It involves the witch farms. So we also have to fill up the area below the actual witch farm with gravity blocks. And this was also suggested in the last live stream. Instead of doing that after the World Eater is finished, we can also do it while the World Eater is running. So we can place all of that sand here while the World Eater is running, and then just afterwards let it drop down while the stone generator is already running. In order to let it drop down, I also added those flying machines here that would punch out the melon blocks, and then all the sand could drop down. And we need to also fill up the volume above the witch farm. So here, those 2 layers, also with any full cube block. And that's why we have a second layer of sand here at the top, which then can also be dropped by just activating this flying machine. Alright, so as you can see, I spent a lot of time recently designing new machines, and also, which is very important and takes a lot of time, is also testing those thoroughly. So all of the machines already have been tested in a creative world, and now it's time to put them into action in our survival world. Alright, yeah, that's the reason why there weren't too many videos lately on YouTube, and also not too many live streams. I was just really busy doing creative work. Alright, so in case you wanna follow our record attempt this Saturday, start is at 12 p.m. Central European Time. And yeah, hope we'll see you on Twitch. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.